Kia ora, and welcome to Thursday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news markets seem to be ignoring current economic data releases, building up higher risk settings. First, oil prices have risen despite official fanfare that strategic oil reserves are being released. Secondly, risk-free benchmark interest rates are rising despite US inflation coming in unchanged. And thirdly, the sudden twist in Aussie rate expectations has seen their currency appreciate significantly, up 2.5% from the start of the week, up almost 7% since the start of 2026. But first in the US, CPI inflation in February came in at the expected 2.4% rate, unchanged from January. But of course this survey was for a period that predates the current war impacts. Their core inflation rate rose slightly in February from January to be 2.5% in February. In this data, year-on-year petrol prices fell 5.6% to give these results. And we all know what they've actually done is risen 22% in the past month. No doubt consumers there will be wondering why if the US is a net energy exporter. But Trump's billionaire mates won't be turning down a grift. US mortgage applications rose for a fourth consecutive week last week, up 3.2% from the prior week, driven largely by new home purchase activity and in spite of rising interest rates. There may be FOMO operating there, fear of even higher rates locked in for the future. Chinese new vehicle sales fell sharply in February from January, but that sort of seasonal shift isn't unusual. However, February sales were actually 15.5% lower than February 2025, and actually lower than even in February 2016. After a very strong run over the past 3 years, the Chinese car-making industry will be looking at the developing 2026 trends nervously. Beijing doesn't need this sector to repeat what went on in their residential housing sector. In Europe, ECB boss Lagarde has been out emphasising that they'll be redoubling their efforts to keep inflation under control with an active monetary policy in the face of oil price pressures, and will take all the necessary measures to control inflation, she said. In England, we should note that their central bank's prudential regulators have given the online fintech Revolut a full banking licence. This is expected to see them attack mainline banks in their most profitable sectors, lending, although Revolut will not be encumbered with branches or any broad requirements to provide full-service offerings. Revolut has been a haven for crypto transactions in the past. In Australia, there are more stories about panic buying of fuel, especially diesel, as farmers and fishers worry about availability to keep their operations going. They worry that food prices will be next. And staying in Australia, Westpac, among others, are suddenly forecasting that the RBA will hike its cash rate target by 25 basis points on March the 17th to 4.1% and again in May to 4.35%. The sudden rise in inflation threats are behind the sharp change, with their central bank feeling compelled to act. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.21%, up 7 basis points from yesterday. And the price of gold will start today down $58 from yesterday at $5,170 an ounce. Silver is down $4 at $85.50 an ounce today. But American oil prices are up $3 at just under $87.50 a barrel, while the international Brent price is now just over $91.50 a barrel. The Straits of Hormuz remain essentially closed, but even if they reopen today, the status quo is unlikely to be restored. So the echo of this crisis may last a very long time. At least that is what markets are pricing in. And the Kiwi dollar is now 40 basis points lower against the US dollar from yesterday, now at 59.1 US cents. But against the Aussie, we're down 50 basis points at 82.7 Australian cents. We're up 20 basis points against the yen. Against the euro, we're unchanged at 51.1 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today down 30 basis points at just under 62.7. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $70,706 and down 0.7% from yesterday. Volatility of the past 24 hours has been modest, just on plus or minus 1.6%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.